Warning, I swear a lot.
It is 11:49 in the AM, and you're watching The Foreman. I'm your host, Foreman, and this one is a little unique for me. It's a little different because I'm actually recording this one at the start of the week, which is unusual because I usually put this off till the end of the week because I can't think of a topic and I panic, and then I eventually come up with something and then record me talking about it. I know this sounds like a very good system and a properly organized way of doing things, but that's the typical way I do it. This week, however, it came to me a little easier. And it's weird how it came about, but it is currently, at day of recording, Monday the 28th of March. I woke up this morning to the news that Will Smith slapped the shit out of Chris Rock at the fucking whatever the fuck. I don't know. Said something about his wife and he slapped him. Now, this event in of itself does not matter to me, really. It's not relevant to my life, probably not relevant to your life, not really relevant to any of our lives, and the event itself doesn't interest me. But it did get me thinking as I read about it, because it was, well, I think Chris said something about his wife's hair or something. Now, I don't know the situation there, and once again, that's not really what I'm here to talk about. What I wanted to talk about was the idea of boundaries in comedy, right? What are the limits? How far can you push something? What is and isn't okay to joke about? You know what I mean? Because for me personally, I wouldn't say I have clearly defined boundaries and limits to my comedy in the grand scheme of things, but there are things that I won't touch, you know, like I don't make jokes in relation to, say, sexual assault or anything like that because I find it to be extremely distasteful. And because I'm putting this stuff on the internet, it's distinctly possible that my joke will reach someone to whom it will not be received very well. Also personally, like, I just don't find that stuff funny. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't find it funny. I find it distasteful. And this is coming from a guy who swears all day. I still find it distasteful, so it's probably quite bad. So, I don't do that. Don't really do racist stuff, because fuck it. We're all people, and every culture, race has something wrong with it. Mine and everyone else's included, so I don't really see any point in trying to, you know, poke, because glass houses throw stones, you know, I'm British. Plenty of things wrong with our history. But I know for a fact, purely because my content is, as I suppose you could describe it, a little spicy. I wouldn't say it's excessively spicy. You can find much spicier things on the internet very easily. In fact, I'd say most of YouTube is probably spicier than me. But the point is, surely there are things that I say on this show and jokes that I make that some would consider to be not okay. Some would probably consider to be overstepping boundaries or pushing a point a bit far, perhaps, or, oh, that's a bit fucked up. And it's difficult because I think about it. I'm just like, what is the there's never going to be a clearly defined point, right? Because everyone has different levels to which they will and will not accept certain things, you know, certain topics, the degree to which you go into certain topics, certain contexts within those topics. You never, obviously there's a classic phrase, you're never going to be able to please everyone, and I get that, I do, but I can't help but try. Which is probably not a good idea, but like, I don't want to upset anyone. I don't want anyone to come to this show, which is a show entirely for the purpose of providing something to which people can laugh at / unwind to at the end of the day. See some stupid stuff, see some cool games, talk about them, make jokes, have a general nice time. I don't want anyone to show up for that purpose and then for me to say something and they're like, oh, fucking, ugh. That's a shitty thing to say, that's horrible. And just, you know, put a general dampener on their day or even their week, depending on how serious it is. Like, I could say something that would really hang with someone for quite a long time. I do think about it. I don't worry about it too much in the moment when I'm recording, because when I'm recording, that's all improv. I'm just going for it, all right? There are certain built-in things, which I don't even entertain as things I will say, like the aforementioned things, racism, sexual assault, and all that. I just don't make jokes about those things. I don't make jokes about those things in real life. Why would I make jokes about them on the show? Makes no sense, right? A lot of the things I say on the show are things I say in real life. I tried to keep my performance and who I am as close together as possible so that there's no weird overlap or slip-ups or anything like that, where it's like, oh, maybe Foreman isn't who he says he is. Nah, Foreman's exactly who he says he is, for better or worse. That's what I want to be. That is the key. You're telling jokes, making comedy, as it were. This applies to more than just LP, of course. This applies to stand-up comedians and everything, and comedy actors and whatnot. I think about the context of that event in of itself. I wonder if people will even still be talking about this by the time this video goes up. But then again, the event itself is not actually a significant thing behind this video. But I think, like, you know, we don't know what's going on. Well, maybe we do. I don't keep up, so I'm going to say I instead of we. I don't know what's going on with Will and his wife, right? I don't know what's up. I think the idea is that she's like bold or something. I didn't hear the joke. All I know is that Will got angry and slapped the dude. I don't know what the context is behind that. I would be very fucking cautious about making fun of someone for being bald, because that could usually be a thing from like chemotherapy or something. I don't know if that's what's going on there. And for the with the lack of knowledge, we're going to assume that's not the case. But I wouldn't make that joke, for instance, because I'd be like, it's like how you don't make fun of people's weight anyway, but you wouldn't go up to someone and just be like, oh, when's the baby due? And they're like, I'm not pregnant. And then that's a horrible situation. But I think about that kind of that context, that event, that situation where it's like, let's assume, because I'm not really taking a side here, but let's assume that Will's wife had something wrong with her, right? Had some kind of illness or disease or what have you, and that's why she didn't have any hair. And then Chris Rock went up there, started making fun of her about it. I don't know to what extent he did, but once again, we're speaking real broadly here. What is the appropriate response, right? What is the smart thing to do? Now the smart thing to do is a much easier answer. The smart thing for Will to do would have been to take the high road, and afterwards just been like, it's kind of shitty of him to say that, but you know, whatever. And then he would look really good and Chris would look like an asshole. But of course, in moments like these, when you or someone you care about is being insulted, you don't really think clearly, right? Like, I haven't had to deal with this very often, but how would I react in a similar situation? Would I just be chill? Would I laugh it off? I don't know. I've never really been in situations where the people close to me, partners or close friends, have been insulted. If I was sat at a table and someone walked up to Sweetman and was like, you're a shit artist, you're a terrible musician, you're a fucking prick, I don't know what my reaction would be. I might leap the table. I don't know. I haven't had to deal with that situation. But it's like, you know, you take it back around to Chris as well, and it's like, where are we at a point now where awards shows have to have like a stand-up comedy section where they have to have little roasts or make funny jokes? Can't they just present the show? Because I don't know, it didn't sound like he was doing a very good job, and in the end of it he got slapped. Maybe Will shouldn't have slapped him. Maybe that was an extreme reaction. Maybe that's not how it should be resolved. But either way, he said something that was not right, I guess. Do I say things that would warrant a slap from people? I don't know. No one's ever threatened me because of what I say on the show. I suppose it'll happen eventually, you know, maybe when the channel gets bigger and someone will be like, fuck you, I hate you, I'm gonna set your house on fire, and I'll be like, cool, good, okay, nice, right. Happy with that. But boundaries, when it comes to comedy, are weird, because like, before I started doing the channel myself, and I took inspiration from various sources to start making videos, start pursuing comedy. I don't really know if that's what I would call my career path, but it involves comedy, so I guess it is kind of a thing. But I watched Super Best Friends Play and Game Grumps. I watched them a lot, and I go back and watch some of those every now and then because they're funny, and I find it good to try and watch things like this fairly regularly to keep my mind in a good mindset. Like, okay, this is a good form of presentation, this is a good way to deliver a joke, this is a funny thing to talk about, blah, blah, blah. But like, going back to some of the older videos as well, especially like Super Best Friends Play, some of that shit is fucking spicy. Like, not sure if that's okay, not sure if that's alright to joke about, you know? And you have to judge it on your own merits, I suppose, what you think is and isn't okay to joke about. But I guess I've always been of the mind to err on the side of caution. But the thing is, what I consider to be something a bit more controversial or unpleasant or upsetting or a bit spicy, I guess. Spicy is a good term for it. Someone else might not care about. Most people might not care about. Like, right, like and and this isn't due to any personal experiences in my life, I guess it's just how I am, but I really struggle to watch scenes of like sexual assault and sexual violence in films and shows, right? I just can't. It makes me so uncomfortable, and if I think it's coming, if I think it's gonna happen, I start getting really, really uncomfortable. I don't know what it is specifically. I hate seeing it. But plenty of other people seem to be fine with it. I'm not sure, I don't think they enjoy it or anything like that, but they seem to withstand it relatively well. They just see it on the screen and they're like, yeah, that sucks. That is generating drama. Let's see the next scene. Whereas I'm sat there still fucking dwelling on it because I've got this horrible, uncomfortable feeling in my chest. I don't think that, like, I know what people may suspect there, but I don't think that's a repressed memory or anything like that. I had a pretty chill childhood. I think I'm alright. But nevertheless, it doesn't make me uncomfortable. It goes back to what I say, other people seem to be fine with it, but then again, I might make a joke about something and then everyone else will be like, fucking hell, that was a bit spicy, what you doing, bruv? Not sure you should be joking about that. But it also comes down to your target audience, doesn't it? Now, obviously my channel's not made for kids. At the moment YouTube was like, you need to specify whether or not your videos are made for kids, I was like, not made for kids, and fucking spread that, check that option for every single video I make, because they are not made for kids. They are not made for kids, I swear, constantly. I even have a warning at the start of the video to inform the viewer that I have a potty mouth. And there is actually, funny enough, there is a good reason why I did that. And it wasn't just to say that I swear a lot, and that, and to have a recognizable handle, as it were. It was because years and years ago, when I was doing the last channel, and I had a little bit of money, so I was looking through Steam for something to buy, right? A game to buy that I could record. And I saw something, can't remember what it's fucking called right now, something to do with, like, you have these little animals, you help them survive or whatever. And I checked the comments, because I was like, I want to see if this is any good. I checked the Steam reviews, like, I want to see if it's good, because I don't really want to waste my time playing something crap, especially not if I'm going to pay money for it. And I went down there and some dude was talking about how, like, oh yeah, I play this game with my son all the time. Like, my young son, we have a great time playing it. We always play it together, and we watch people on YouTube play it as well. And I sat there and I was like, you watch Let's Plays with your kid. You're a young kid who probably has never heard a swear before or sworn himself, and you watch Let's Plays. Because my understanding, mistakenly obviously, up to this point was that LP was a fairly mature, not mature as in, you know, mature, but as in mature content, form of entertainment. It was almost exclusively swearing. I figured that was kind of what it was. It was all stupid nonsense, right? Or at the very least, mostly that. And that you wouldn't really go looking for, like, squeaky clean Let's Play, because it wouldn't really be a thing, because there's not a lot there. Turns out I was wrong. Obviously I was wrong. But yeah, but parents would go, well, like in the modern age of YouTube videos becoming more of a thing and LP becoming more of a thing, parents going on YouTube looking up videos to watch with their kids, like, of gameplay, of Let's Play, of commentary. And I was like, shit. Whoops. I've spent several years making videos where I don't really filter my words, you know, don't really censor myself in any way, shape, or form. That's a thing. That's a whole thing. And that was where the idea spawned from, where I was like, okay, well, I'll have the little thing at the start of the video, just warning, I swear a lot. Because then, if a parent does find, like, there are a lot of games where it would not make sense for a parent and their kid to find my show, right? Like, Darkest Dungeon, right? Bloodborne, probably Elden Ring as well. You know, you're not going to be looking that stuff up with your kids, but what if I play something that could be potentially for kids? I did Overcooked with Sweetman and some friends, and we swore like crazy, like, we were all drunk, you know? That's not suitable for kids. I'm certain there are other games I've played on the show that could, realistically speaking, be games that kids could play, and I know kids mostly ignore, age ratings and stuff. You know, you got 10-year-olds playing GTA and whatever. Like, I did that as well. I played San Andreas when I was 10, whatever. But still, it's not that I think kids... It's not that I do or don't think the kids should be exposed to swearing. I think that comes down to an individual basis. The parent would know, probably, whether their kid would be alright with more mature themes and stuff and all that. My point is that I don't want to make that decision for them. by accident, by just having a video where in the first 5 seconds I list off 9 different swears, and they're like, well, my kid's just been corrupted by this man-child's foul mouth, so great, thanks for that, very helpful. I don't know, I'm not sure if it's always visually apparent or audibly apparent, because you guys don't physically see me half the time, but I do quite a few things on this show to avoid upsetting people. And the boundaries of comedy is why I consider that so much, because a lot of it does come down to, it's not that I want to pander to people, it's not that I want to babysit and mollycoddle people, right? This is the internet, this is the big wide world, people say and do things that are iffy. But maybe that's almost kind of the reason why I want to be accommodating towards people who watch, because like, it's a shit world, man. It's a rough place, this planet, this world. Literally, people do and say things that are iffy. It's not a nice place, it's not a pleasant place. I'm not the fluffiest, softest, most wholesome person in the world, but I feel like if I'm gonna make something that entertains people, the way I want to do that is I want people to feel happy and comfortable. I think I've talked about this in a previous video. I think in one of the RimWorld talkie videos, I think I expressed this idea. But if people come here, I want them to come here knowing that they can chill, they can relax, we're just gonna have fun. You can sit back and watch this, or you could be playing something and have this on to the side. You can do what you want, and you're not gonna be sat here and you're not gonna listen to me start, I don't know, talking mad shit about trans people or something stupid like that. You know, you're not gonna come here and be like, oh, yeah, maybe that's the point. You're not gonna come here and be like, oh, hey, I like this guy, he's really funny right here, and I like his, I don't know why you'd think this, but I like his commentary and his gameplay and whatever. Yeah, I'm having a good time. I'll watch a few more of his videos. And then a couple videos down the line, you're like, oh, fuck, he's a transphobe. Oh, fuck, he's a misogynist. Oh, no, he's a racist. Oh, no, he makes sexual assault jokes. And then you either stop watching entirely, which you would be entirely within your rights to do so, or you feel guilty for watching it, which is it's not fair. It's not fair. You're already giving me your time, and I'm paying you back by being an asshole, basically. I'm not a perfect human being. There have got to be some things where people will eventually come to the show and be like, Foreman, this thing you said is fucked up, and it says really bad things about you as a person. And I'll have to address those as and when they come, and sort of try and set my own ideas for what is and isn't okay to joke about. Like, and there are plenty of things you don't think about as a person living in a certain demographic, as it were. Look, I'm a straight white dude, and I don't live in poverty. I've had a pretty easy ride of it in these respects, and there are a lot of things I don't consider. Yeah, I had to get a lot more context before I realized, maybe jokes poking fun at people who haven't done as well as I have, or more to the point, been as lucky. That's actually the key point. Not done as well, that implies I've done something. That's not true. Been as lucky as I have. Maybe that's in poor taste and doesn't really flow very well and doesn't feel very good to say, so maybe I won't say those things. Right, it was a long time before I realized how much of a struggle it is for disabled people in our society, how much things are just not built to help them out at all. That was an eye-opener, and I had no context for that because that was not a thing that had ever appeared in my life. I'd never had to deal with that. Of course not, I'm able-bodied. It was never a thing. I've had a few injuries over the years, sure, but nothing rendering me disabled. And that ignorance is what can lead to making jokes that are questionable. A lot of people would probably make sexual assault jokes because they've never had to experience it. And indeed, very luckily, I've never experienced it. But, you know, you look at something and you go, that's fucked up, and you learn more about it and you go, that's fucked up. I'm not gonna joke about it. It sounds simple, and it is simple, but it's also not simple, and it's extremely complex. I'm never gonna be able to avoid upsetting someone. And the thing is, right, is I don't know how the tone of this has come out because it's hard to listen to yourself while you talk. I'm not complaining about needing to be a little more feeling the need. There we go. There's the term. Feeling the need to be careful about what I joke about. I'm not doing that because I'm like, oh god, the SJWs are gonna get on my case. I'm gonna have to watch what I say, and oh, it's such a pain. I just want to be able to make horrible jokes all day. I'm more than happy to try and not upset people, basically. It is my intent. No one has told me to do this. I'm doing this of my own choice. I don't want to upset people. I'm just aware of the world around me, and it's not that people are getting more sensitive. I don't think people are getting more sensitive at all. I think we're aware of more shit. I think information travels more freely. I think something you say can be heard much further than it would be otherwise. Me right now, anything I say, right, through the power of YouTube, anything I say could be heard by, at the moment, around 300 people, or even more if it went viral or if it happened to get a lot of views. Think about that. Anything I say could be reached by 500 to 1,000 to 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, however many people. And the same applies to you. You could do the exact same thing if you wanted to. People have been saying horrible shit for years, thousands of years. The difference was only a certain amount of people heard it. And it actually leads, I guess this is kind of changing topics at the moment. I don't fucking care though. I talk about what I want. A phrase, a sentiment I've always had massive issue with, right? And this is typically a boomer thing to say, but I think people closer to our age or younger probably say it as well. And that is the idea that, oh man, you can't say anything these days. And this is right and it's wrong. It's right in the sense that you can't just say anything, but that's been the case for over 8,000 years. 400 years ago, if you said, oh, like fucking hell, oh, Jesus Christ, you said the Lord's name in vain, brother, you were dead. You're dead, you're done, you're gone. They will drown you, they will burn you, they will hang you. You're gone. Don't say the Lord's name in vain. Nowadays, you can literally swear up a storm. The sentiment is also wrong. You can say whatever you want. You can, literally. You have the power to say whatever you want, but you have to be prepared to deal with the consequences. This has always been the thing. Throughout all of human history, you can say whatever the fuck you want, but you have to be prepared for how people are going to react. You are free to say whatever you want. They are free to react however they want. That's the key point. If I bust into your house and insult you and your mother, and you start getting angry, and I'm like, well, I can say what I want. If I can't say anything these days, people are so soft. And it's like, fuck you. That doesn't apply when the things you're saying outright diminish, dismiss, insult, or hurt people around you. You don't get to be like that, you know? I don't know, I'm getting more passionate about this than I think I intended, but this is something I feel very strongly about. I hate the people, I don't know, go out and make like homophobic jokes and stuff, and then people understandably get upset and, oh, you can't say anything anymore, people are too sensitive. And it's like, you're dismissing an entire, like, portion of the planet. You're insulting an entire portion of the planet. People who have gone through horrible bullshit to get to the point where they are now, which is still not the point where they should be in terms of equal treatment and equal rights, and you're just making light of it. Of course they're gonna get upset. If I got mugged and someone walked up to me and laughed at me for getting mugged, I'd be pretty fucking angry, right? It's very simple. Some facets of this are very complicated, and it's hard to narrowly define. It's hard to pinpoint what exactly is right and wrong about them. Some parts, though, are really fucking simple, and I feel like that's one of them. But we have definitely strayed away from the ideas of, like, the boundaries of comedy. But I guess we're straying more into the boundaries of things you can say in general, ways to act, ways to be, how you are, who you are, and how people will respond. Some people have tougher skin. There are gay people out there who won't give a flying fuck if you walk in their face and call them a slur. Does that make it okay for you to do that? No, it don't, but you won't get a reaction from them. However, you might get a reaction from the person next to them, and they might not be too happy. You do have to be careful what you say, but I think people freak out about it way too hard. And I think people are way too sensitive about, ironically, they're way too sensitive about people getting upset about what they say. The irony is that the true sensitivity, the true, like, trigger responses often come from the people who are slinging shit rather than the people who are having to listen to it. I don't know, it's strange. This was probably not a great, no, let me finish the sentence. This was probably not a great thing to talk about, right? This will it's a topic that can engender a lot of mixed feelings, a lot of conflict, a lot of back and forth opinions, but my views on how I do this, my the way I do this is so contradictory of itself, because on the one hand, I don't want to upset people, but on the other hand, I'm not going to sit here and pretend my views are something when they're actually not. I'm not going to hold back from certain topics because I don't think people will respond to it very well. There's a fine line, and all of it is rooted in contradictory hypocrisy. Like, I guess I am a hypocrite. Everyone's a fucking hypocrite. What do you want? But whether or not a statement holds strong wildly depends on the context. I won't make horrible misogynistic or homophobic jokes because I don't think that's a good thing to do, and I don't want to, and I don't do it in my life, so why would I do it on my show? But I will discuss the topic and the ideas around it because I think that's worth discussing. Now, I don't know if it's abundantly clear which side of that coin I land on. Obviously, I'm in support of gay rights, trans rights, and equality for women and all that. Obviously, this is pretty obvious. I feel like it's pretty obvious. I don't think I really need to justify myself here. I think you know. But I always think these things are worth discussing, and I don't want to shy away from discussing them, because I think that's important. And I've said previously that talking is a key point when it comes to promoting progress, bringing people forward. More understanding comes from more discussion if we can talk about it instead of fucking arguing about it, because the moment you bring up a topic, a lot of people will just come in and go, fuck you, this is what I think, and I literally refuse to hear anything else about it. And I'm like, you could just try like fucking listening to people and, you know, taking it on board. I've been convinced of things before. I grew up in a fucking middle of nowhere British secondary school. Do you think we were a progressive bunch in regards to things like women's rights, gay rights, and especially trans like treatment? Do you think we were progressive? No. That school was a cesspool, and I was raised in that, and I thought that was all okay. I had to learn. And how did I learn? By listening to people and being like, oh, well, now that you mention it, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, these are just people trying to live their fucking lives. This is straight so far from the original topic. I don't know. I don't care. You guys know I ramble. It's fine. But people just aren't willing to... A lot of people aren't willing to accept the fact that they might be wrong, or that maybe their opinion is worth being changed. And that's just the way it is. I'm actually going to wrap it up here because I've strayed so far from the original topic. I think this is the most I've strayed that I don't... If anything I talk about now is really something that should be saved for a future topic or a future video where I could go into it more at length instead of starting to talk about it and then pulling myself back because I'm like, this is not actually what I was supposed to be talking about today. Thank you so much for watching. I would ask you your opinion, but this has been such a fucking mess. I don't know what question to ask you. Legit, I don't know what to ask you. I'm like, what are your thoughts on comedic boundaries? What do you think is and isn't okay to joke about? Do you think I'm an idiot? I think I'm an idiot. I'm pretty sure I'm an idiot. I think I'm dumb, or maybe I'm just happy. I need to listen to Nirvana again. I love Nirvana. But, yeah, no, I'm truly rambling. I'm truly all over the place. I'm gonna cringe at myself so hard when I edit this, because I'm gonna be like, Foreman, what the fuck were you even saying? You were all over the goddamn place. But, unfortunately, that's the show, and that's me. And this is me thanking you so much for watching. I don't know, be nice to each other, listen to each other, take differing opinions into consideration, and don't shoot back with insults, but instead shoot back with your own thoughts and why you may feel a different way. Things would be a lot easier if that was what we did, but maybe that's wishful thinking. Once again, for the last and final time, thank you so much for watching. Whatever I talk about next time, and hopefully it'll be more cohesive and coherent and focused, I hope I see you there. Toodles. Goodbye.